Saints back at it out there at the facility in full pads today. Ross Jackson, LockedOn Saints, and LouisianaSports.net. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Wednesday. Ross, how we doing?
Hey, man, doing great. Glad to be here with you.
I'm glad you're here with me. Let's talk about the black and gold. Back in the pads today, physicality picked up a little bit over the course of the last week.
Yeah, big time. And I would say certainly today, I think anytime that you start off practices, and I think you've seen this before, Hunt, when you start off practices with one-on-ones, that's always going to take up a little bit of physicality, especially when it gets to those team drills.
Let's talk about the linemen, and that's the most fun group to talk about when they actually put the pads on. Gotten a good look at Kelvin Banks with some one-on-ones?
Yeah, Kelvin Banks has been a player that's been a lot of fun to watch. He's really fast. He's really kind of fast and physical, but I think the fastness or the speed of his movement ability is one thing, but the speed of his sort of just kind of the way that he processes and understands what's going on in front of him, and the new system and the run scheme, all those pieces. It's just really impressive kind of watching this young guy go. He's got a lot of looks about him that make him look more veteran than rookie. And I think that's probably really promising for this team that went ahead and invested a top 10 selection of.
Trevor Penning moving inside to guard. I know that Kellen Moore talked about him yesterday, but what have you seen from him in this transition period?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of physicality, right? That's always been his game. And certainly playing in the trenches, down in the middle, and certainly in the interior is one of those things that really, really helps him big time. Because he gets to be a little bit more physical. He gets to be a little bit more aggressive. He gets to be a little bit more kind of dominant, especially in the run game, which is where he's always been at his strongest. He said he's got some things that he needs to continue to work on, hand placement, particularly getting his hands up. And then, of course, also, footwork and everything like that, because your footwork's a lot different on the inside as an offensive lineman than at tackle. And so I think that once he gets those in, we'll start to see some more of, the kind of the progress as it goes through. But he's really got the opportunity to work in that during these padded practices. So 2 down and with a few more to go, I think you'll continue to see the progress for him. But he's certainly feeling a lot more confident than I think that we're typically used to seeing him feel at this point in each of the training camps that he's been a part of.
Any sense from Taliese Fuaga that he's been demoted in a way, or you feel like he's more comfortable?
No, he's pretty comfortable. I mean, he's back where it was that he played collegiate football, and he really loves being over on the right side and playing next to Cesar Ruiz. The two of them apparently joked around last year quite a bit about, man, how cool would it be if we got to kind of play next to each other, and then that's exactly what happened here in 2025. So it really opens up a little bit more of an opportunity for them. They have a lot of fun out on the field. When they get big run games, you can see them kind of, or run plays, you can see them kind of laughing at the defensive linemen and stuff like that. They're kind of clowning each other and others out on the field all throughout. So he's having a great time.
Now let's talk about the defensive side now that you've seen some one-on-ones. Anybody stand out from a defensive line perspective?
Yeah, from that defensive line perspective, I think, Devon Godshaw is just kind of immovable. You know that very well.
Yeah.
That guy is massive, and he's somebody that is just, really, really physical, not just from sort of what you would expect with his hand usage and everything like that, but the way that he sits and anchors, it's just so tough to move him. And I think that's something that you're really looking forward to if you want to see this New Orleans Saints defensive kind of run defense improve going into 2025, finishing 31st in the NFL last year. Having somebody like that's not going to get pushed off the line of scrimmage, that's going to be able to kind of reduce those yards before contact. That's a major addition for New Orleans. It's no wonder why they, instead of going to free agency, they went and traded for somebody, and they immediately identified Devon Godshaw as a guy they wanted to go after. That, both Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore have experience going up against with the Chargers. And not having much success running his way, they decided that that's what they wanted in their room, and so they went out and got him. And I think Brian Brzee, the other one, his movement ability is just so surprising still at his size. And then, of course, guys like Chase Young and Carl Granderson with their athleticism continue to stand out as well.
Let's go back to Brzee. What did you see from him against the run last year? We know the pass rush statistically was very, very good. What about the run?
Yeah, I think it's probably the kind of weaker part of his game. It always has been, even going back to his Clemson days and things like that. I think one of the things that was always kind of challenging for him is in that 4-3 defense, when he's playing sort of that 3-tech role lined up between the guard and tackle, he's having to either dart towards the inside, kind of flash across the guard to try to penetrate, get to that A-gap between the centering guard. And those are big bodies that you're kind of putting yourself in the midst of. But you saw the success of the pass rush when he was able to work a little bit more in the B-gap, going outside of that, flashing over the guard's outside shoulder instead. So he just had a little bit more trouble working inside than working outside. But now the way that this defense is going to work out, with the edge rushers being so far to the outside, kind of playing outside the tight end, even when there's not a tight end there, those tackles are going to have to take wider sets. That's going to create space between the tackle and the guard. So that's going to give him the opportunity as a player that's working off the edge to kind of be able to be in space a little bit more, because he'll be playing sort of the 3-4 defensive end role as opposed to being all the way in the middle of that defense. So I think it's going to give him a little bit more, like the benefit for him is that he'll get to work a little bit more in space, one-on-one, instead of being sort of mixed into those double teams with the bigger bodies on the inside. I think that's going to help him kind of overcome some of the struggles that he had in the run game in his early NFL goings.
Ross Jackson, Locked On Saints podcast. Of course, got our coverage at LouisianaSports.net as well, giving us a little bit of time here on this Wednesday. We talked about Banks. I know it's early, but any of the other rookies caught your eye here or there with the play?
Yeah, I mean, look, Quincy Riley, I should highlight, the Louisville corner. He got his second interception of camp today, and both of the interceptions that he's gotten in camp have been in 7-on-7s, but they've also both been in the end zone. And this is just what Quincy Riley does. He had 15 interceptions coming into the NFL. He had that was the most interceptions of anybody at his position in this year's draft class. He had 54 passes defended as well. And so this is just somebody that has a lot of production at the ball, and that's something that this Saints team desperately needs over on defense. And so he's been providing that. I'll highlight Danny Stutsman, who got a shout out from tight end Jack Stoll today. The two were were kind of matched up a lot because there were a few nicks and bumps and bruises at the tight end position. So Jack Stoll, coming over from Philadelphia, got a lot of opportunity today. And he was working against Danny Stutsman quite a bit. And one of the things that he spoke about was sort of the vocal leadership that he brings. This is a guy that consistently gets mixed into the first team now, along with Pete Werner and Demario Davis. And his sideline-to-sideline ability, his athletic ability are just kind of off the charts. And then you add kind of the football processing that he does. I mean, it's no wonder why he was one of the top off-ball linebackers coming into the league. And the Saints pretty lucky to get him as late in the draft as they got him.
And then back to safety. Obviously, Tyrann steps away right before training camp breaks. So what's the word back there opposite Jordan Reed?
Yeah, so it's been a lot of Julian Blackmon here lately. They signed Julian Blackmon. Really, I mean, not a few days ago, the day before camp, it was clear that they were working towards a contract the same day that the Tyrann Mathieu retirement was announced, and then that deal became official the next day, after the first day of training camp. And he was here the second day of training camp and has already climbed his way up here, camp day 7, into the starting lineup. He was effectively with the first team the entire day today, and I think that makes sense. When you lose a guy like Tyrann, you try to find veteran experience where you can get it. And so maybe that is a big part of why you see a guy like Julian Blackmon immediately kind of leap a Jonas Stenker, who's really talented, but, is a rookie. A Terrell Burgess, who's really talented, but hasn't had as much playing experience, even though he came in literally the same round and same year as Julian Blackmon to the NFL. But Blackmon's got a lot of ball production in the NFL, 7 interceptions over the course of the last 2 seasons. And he's kind of been the guy that's next to Justin Reed here as of late. We'll see how that continues to rotate. Jordan Howden kind of started off there first. And so I'm sure that there will be changes there. But for right now, it's been a lot of Julian Blackmon with the first team.
We'll let you get going, get writing, all right? We'll be listening to Locked On Saints and check you out on LouisianaSports.net. Ross, we appreciate a little bit of time.
Absolutely, buddy. Thanks for having me on. You take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good. That is Ross Jackson down in New Orleans. A lot of interesting stuff there that we'll certainly dive into as the show moves forward. If that offensive line's got to be good. They just have to. And if they can find a way to be good, you can start to let Kellen Moore's offense find its way. If they can't block, you can't do anything. It'll be the same thing we talk about with LSU. LSU's offensive line just needs to be 7 out of 10. The Saints' offensive line probably needs to be 8, 9 out of 10. And if they can get there, then both those teams are going to achieve what they're looking to achieve, which for LSU, that's getting into the playoffs and being a championship-style contender. For the Saints, it's getting the offense implemented and getting a young quarterback quality reps where he's not running for his life. That's what you're looking for those two operations. So we'll see. Hopefully both of them work out. Thanks to Ross for all that. Again, you can find all this stuff for free at LouisianaSports.net or at Locked On Saints. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button. Leave your comments in the section below and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.